Hello everyone, my name is Natalia Violi and I am from Information System 42 International class. And through this video, I want to present my individual assignment about data introduction. Okay, first of all, anyone knows about what's data? Okay, I'll give a brief explanation. Data is a collection of facts such as numbers, words, measurements, observations, or just descriptions of things. And data itself is the main ingredient for any BI or business intelligence, data science, and business analytics initiative. So because the data is the main ingredient, we can say that the data is very important. And as we see in here, that the source of the information is the data. So we can say in other words that without data, we cannot get information. And if we don't have any information, we cannot make a decision. And of course, if we don't have any decision, we cannot conduct analytics. So that's why the data is very important because without data, we cannot conduct analytics. Okay, here's the type of data, which is structured data and unstructured data. We can see in here the comparison between both of them, right? That the structured data looks neat instead of unstructured data looks little bit messy. Okay, here the example of structured data is database, and for unstructured data, for instance, like PDF, Word, blog, newspaper, and etc. And we can see here that structured data looks neat, so it's easier to understand instead of unstructured data that little bit complicated, so it's harder to understand. Okay, here the comparison between both of them. The structured data most often categorized as quantitative data, but unstructured data most often categorized as qualitative data. And for structured data, it's easy to search and analyze, but unstructured data significant challenge to collect, process, and analyze. For the last, structured data can be understood by a computer, but unstructured data it's only understood by humans. So we can say that if the computer or machine want to understand the unstructured data, they have to use machine learning, so after that they can understand. Okay, here the structured data that consists categorical data and numeric data. Categorical data represent the labels of multiple classes used to divide a variable into specific groups, for example like race, age group, educational level, and so on. And for numeric data represent the numeric values of specific variables, for example like age, number of children, and etc. Okay, actually categorical data classify as nominal data and ordinal data. Nominal data obtained by categorization or classification, but the value is the same. For example, like we have three choices. Number one is single, number two is married, and number three is divorced. And between the three of them, they have same value or equals. So it doesn't mean that if we choose number two, we have greater value, because in nominal data, all of data considered equal or same. It's different with ordinal data that obtained by categorization or classification, but the value has levels. In here, the value is the same, but in ordinal data, the value has levels. For example, like number one low, number two medium, number three high. Between three of them, they have a different level, right? And in another example, there will be rank in the school. Student A get first rank and student B get second rank. And because in ordinal data it has value or levels, so we can say or we can conclude that a student who get first rank is smarter than a student who get second rank. Okay, the numeric data classify as interval data and ratio data. Interval data obtained by calculation where the distance between 2 points of the scale is known. For example, like the average height of a student between 150 until 180 centimeters. And for ratio data, include measurements variables commonly found in the physical science and engineering. For example, like mass and length. Okay, here an example of purchase scheme that consists 5 tables. The first table is purchase order detail. In here we can see that purchase order ID, purchase order detail ID, product ID, yes, are numeric. And then due date, line total, and modified date are interval, And for order quantity, received quantity, rejected quantity, stock quantity are ordinal, and for the last unit price is ratio. We can move in the second table purchase order header, that purchase order ID, ship method ID, vendor ID, revision number, subtotal, and tax amount are numeric, and then for status is nominal, and for order date, ship date, total due, and modified date are interval, and for the freight is ordinal. And then for the next table vendor, for pieces entity ID and account numeric and URL are numeric. Sorry, I mean that account number and URL are numeric, and then the name is category, and for credit rating, modified date are interval, and for the status in here, that active flag is are nominal. And we can move on the next table, that ship method ID and ship base are numeric, and therefore name is category, and for ship rate, raw guide, and modified date are interval. And for the last table, product vendor, that consists basis entity ID, product ID, standard price, last received cost, last receipt date, and order and unordered quantity are numeric. And then for average lead time and minimum order quantity, maximum order quantity, and modified date are interval. And for the last unit of measure, code is ratio. Okay, the conclusion is the data is a collection of facts such as numbers, words, measurements, observation, or just descriptions of things. And data type, the first one is structured data and the second one is unstructured data. Structured data that only can be understood by computer, but unstructured data it can be understood by human. And structured data consists categorical data, nominal data, ordinal data, numeric data, interval data, and ratio data. And for unstructured data consists like email, Facebook, image, video, and etc. Okay, that's all from me. Sorry if there is a mistake. Thank you.